Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. Okay. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jaquab Ben Yisrael. Welcome to my channel. Jehovah, thank you for this opportunity to be a light while I'm in this reality, to share the light to the best of my ability, to according to my own understanding. And I ask for help in redeeming the time and to share the things that I have been shown that will hopefully encourage my brethren scattered throughout the world today. And I also pray for my brethren who are scattered in the world today that we can redeem the time while we're on the earth. And Jehovah, I just ask for the light to spread and for the kingdom to come and for the Ashars, the angels who minister to us, to let them know that they are appreciated and how they minister to the faithists in the world today. We don't thank them, Jehovah. I thank you for them, and I ask that they influence me for this video to speak on things that you are revealing and have revealed in your word. So, Jehovah, I just ask for my brethren that their particular situation, whatever it is they're going through, the trials, that their charge will strengthen them to go through these things that not only they are going through, but all of us as a whole are going to be going through, especially shortly while we're on the earth. And so, Jehovah, I thank you for the opportunity to just the knowledge that you are giving us now to help us to make the resurrection. So I thank you for this and many other things. In your name, I give thanks and praise. So let it be. All right, brethren, thank you for joining me. My name is Jaquab Ben Yisrael. Welcome to my channel. This is a channel for brethren who have heard about the Oahspe Bible and can subscribe to it, can believe it, for some reason have been able to receive the things that the Oahspe says. We realize that the things that the Oahspe says are very controversial, and it's an uphill battle to live and to walk and to believe these things that are mentioned in the Oahspe. And so this is a channel for brethren who can subscribe to the Oahspe Bible. But I'm just a brother who's doing his best to try to share what I believe is the light that is revealed in the Oahspe, and I do it imperfectly. I try my best, and I think that if someone is sincere and they have the Creator has allowed them to see the world, for what it is, and to seek something better, I think He'll give you that knowledge. Right now, we in a situation, we on the earth, and we realize that the earth is a place where it's 100% materialism, it's non-spiritual, it's anti-Jehovian. We realize that the Creator, He calls us to do battle with the self, with the flesh. We realize that there is such a thing called making a resurrection. And so it's one of those things where everybody will eventually make the resurrection. The difference between a faithist and the rest of the world, a faithist is they are called to make the resurrection to begin while they're on the earth, and it's not appreciated. People don't see any value in it. Nothing that we can do about it except keep trying to encourage brethren to share this light, the knowledge, the understanding, and just keep on traveling the road that we have been called to travel. Okay, now on the screen I have the website for the Universal Faithists of Cosmin. The Universal Faithists of Cosmin, that's the website on the screen. There's information here. There's meditation. There's a healing basket. There's Oahspe conversations. These are the ministries that the brethren that run this website that they have, and it's for faithists to come and find encouragement, to find knowledge and understanding, to find meditation, to find healing, prayers for healing. And also at the end of the, or on the bottom here, there is a creed that helps to explain who faithists are, what we believe, what is a faithist. We have faith in the all person, the collective wisdom that is without gender. As faithists, we live by and follow these guidelines inspired by the Oahspe Bible and the work of John Newbro. We understand that supremacy exists only in a weak and fearful mind. We strive to do good works in the Creator's name. We respect others' opinions with understanding and openness as long as their opinions do not diminish the dignity or free will of anyone. We're willing to accept differences from others with no bias. We treat others and ourselves with love and forgiveness. We are kind to our actions and whole being. We give to others the freedom we all deserve. It is easy to demand free will, but it is challenging to allow others to exercise their free will. We are able to admit our mistakes and take responsibility for our actions. With these guidelines in mind, it is easier to understand that the foundation of faithism is the study and pursuit of Amrath and Ahiba. Amrath is divine forgiveness, and Ahiba is unconditional love. For faithists, the cultivation of Amrath and Ahiba are essential lessons on the path for soul growth. Many faithists adhere to a vegan diet to reduce suffering, but being vegan does not give anyone supremacy. So that's a small snapshot of faithists, what we believe. Also, the Oahspe, the theeloists, these are brethren who they have a ministry where they'll send you an Oahspe for free. Here's the website. You send them an email requesting an Oahspe. They'll send it to you for free. And also ask you if you want the Radiance Anthology. Radiance Anthology is a book. It looks just like the Oahspe. It's a book of angel messages. And so you write them, you send an email to this address right here, and they will send you the Oahspe for free. I think I have a link in the description area of my video. You can check it out. Also, the Unknown Many have put out a 6-volume set, which is a supplement, just supplement to the Oahspe, breaks it down into subject and chapter, where it cherry picks chapters from the Oahspe, gives the chapter on it, gives a little heading to help you understand, to summarize, a little snapshot of what the Oahspe is all about, verses that deal with different subjects. And this is the 6-volume set right here. And if you get in touch with me, my link in the video description area. I'll send you a 6-volume set for free. I just ask you don't take advantage of it, brother. If you're able to get it yourself on Amazon, it's priced as low as it can go. But if you're a little short, I can understand that, and I will certainly send you the 6-volume set for free. For free, get in touch with me. My link is in the description box of the video. Also, I've been trying to push the Books to Prison ministry. As faithists, one of the things that help us to redeem the time is to be about good works, to do things, selfless things that will help other people. That's one of the main points of the Oahspe, is to learn to be selfless. You got to learn to try to be giving and to share, and to even to your own hurt if you're able to do it. And so that takes many different forms, but one of them is you can send books, you can send the Oahspe to brethren who are incarcerated. I got a link there in my description area. Nobody has to know what you're doing. You can do it totally incognito, which is the faithist way. do things without, you don't have to blow a trumpet. Nobody has to know, hey, look what I did. You don't have to put your, you don't have to be acknowledged. Try to seek being acknowledged. The Creator says, don't seek the applause of men. And I thoroughly agree. I thoroughly love that. The battle, the flesh, it wants credit. It wants to be acknowledged. It has a me mindset. And that's what we're called to do battle with. And it's a very hard thing to do. But when you think about it, the flesh, the me, the self, it's never satisfied, man. It is never satisfied. You look at the world, people chasing riches, chasing entertainment, chasing glory, fame. It's never ending, man. It's never fulfilled. It cannot be satisfied. The thirst of the self nature, the beast kingdom, it is unquenchable. And the danger of it is that it can distract you, keep you preoccupied all your life to keep you away from the light. That's what we're up against. The title of this video is called The Critique of British Colonialism. It's probably going to rub some brethren the wrong way. That's not my intention, but I think that this type of understanding is going to bless brethren's soul. And you know what? I think especially our white brethren. I hope the Creator, he gives me ability, inspiration to say this lesson, because it has the potential to break the bondage of many white faithists who call themselves white. White, that's not, I learned that ain't nothing but a construct, meaning that was a created term. When they began to migrate to America, the Europeans, when they began to migrate to America, all of a sudden they became white. I don't know who came up with that, but they decided to they started being categorized as white people when they came to America, because before they came, they were Europeans, they were Irish, they were German, they were French, they were Portuguese, they were Spanish, they were Germans, And then when they got here, that's when all of a sudden they became white people. They became white people, and it was a wrench in Louis Mong's hand. Louis Mong is the false god who's responsible for the religion and the bondage it places people under. It's an entity called Louis Mong, a false god. He is the one responsible for influencing. He is one. I'm going to read from the book of E.S. I'm going to let E.S. explain it. Anyway, here's the 6-volume set. Also, in the video description area, there's a brother who's got a Thursday ministry. I highly recommend the brother's ministry on Thursday. You get in contact with him. He sends you an email link on Thursday at the time of the Zoom meeting. And the brethren get together for about 40 minutes and they voice prayers to the Creator. Send it out into the atmosphere. 40 minutes every Thursday. Send them an email. Ask the brother to include you on the email mailing list. And so when he does his ministry on Thursday, you can join. You can join the brethren. And, the angels, they use our voiced prayers and our silent prayers. But when you voice prayers with other brethren, you got to receive a witness in your soul that something is happening. You got to receive it, man. You got to know it. Now, also, I have an announcement on Wednesday. I'm going to start broadcasting our Bible study. I'm going to start broadcasting it on my channel. I'm going to broadcast the Bible study with Dr. Glenn Kendall, who is the president of Universal Faithists of Cosman. I'm going to start broadcasting the Bible study on Wednesday. I won't be speaking or anything. I'm just going to use my channel as a platform to broadcast the Wednesday Bible study. I'll have a number for brethren who want to call the Bible study and join it. All right, let's get to the study because it's a long study. I'm not going to get through all of it. I'm not going to get through all of it. Now, the reason behind why I'm doing this study here, the reason behind why I'm doing it, I was doing a video and inspiration came on me. Inspiration came on me. Let me bring up the study. An inspiration came on me during a part of the video, and I was speaking on something that inspired me to make up a little song about the subject matter I was talking about. And during the video, I said something like, "Old McThreat had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, with a threat here and a threat there. Here a threat, there a threat. Everywhere a threat, right?" Now, I was just making fun, kind of mocking the subject, the topic that I was talking about. Don't you know, later on that night, I couldn't get that out of my mind. And I started looking into it about how the United States and Israel, in order to justify warfare, they call everything a threat. And the inspiration that came on me was like, why don't you think about that, Yaquab? You know, you said that for a reason. You know, you came up with that little tune for a reason. And so I began to think about it. I began to meditate on it. You know, that is true. The United States and Israel, they make everything a threat. And that justifies warfare, military. And then I thought about it some more. And if you look on, you know, like when they make a movie, you know, I could probably do it right now. I might embarrass myself. No, I don't think I will. You can do it yourself if you want to. I can. Do you ever see those posters when they make a movie? You know, every time you look up, it's somebody holding a gun. It's somebody holding a gun. It's somebody holding a weapon. You look at those snapshots of movie posters. You know how when they put the posters up for the theater, everywhere you turn around is somebody holding a gun, or a movie about warfare, or a movie about bloodshed, or a movie about peace and security, and how somebody felt threatened, and the first thing it did, they picked up a gun. They picked up a gun. Now, we used to it by now. You know. The United States and Israel is mainly responsible for saying this is a threat, and then they go and they bring their military with them. Now, that's when I knew I might be on to something. Creator, he may be showing me something. And I finally came around to British colonialism. Now, it sounds like I'm going to get down on the white man. And you know what? Actually, I'm not. You know why? Because guess what? The things that they have done, it's not their fault. They were hijacked. The people we call white people, Europeans, they came to America, they became white people. They were hijacked. Now, I want to start off. Now, I've got the study on the screen. I'm going to show you how. You know, I think you probably are. Faith is we know these things. I think that most of us, we know these things. And so I'm going to let the Creator, it's better to let the Creator tell you what happened to Europeans, to the white man. It tells you why we are under the system we're under today. Why we're under the system we're under today. Mainly capitalism. And you see the imperfect manifestation of what capitalism is. It is imbalanced. It favors a very few over the majority. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why that mindset, where that even that mindset came from. Okay, now if you bear with me a second, I'm gonna bring up. Let me go bring up the Oahspe. Let me bring up the Oahspe. And I'm going to read from the book of ES, which means spirit. And you got to, majority of the world has not heard these things before. I did a little study. I asked which spiritual book talks about British colonialism, and none came up. The Bible, the Quran, Bhagavad Gita, Emerald Tablets, none of them came up. Now, to me, if you ask me, this is pretty mind-blowing. I've known about it for a while, though. But every time you read it, it's the same thing, man. It's the same effect when you realize that the Creator, this is nothing new to him, Now, let me go ahead and pull up the screen. If you bear with me, I'll pull up the Oahspe, and we're going to read from it and see what the Creator has to say. And then after that, I'm going to do the study. Okay. So let's bring up the Oahspe. And then let's go to the book of ES, chapter 14. This is pretty mind-blowing stuff, man. When you realize how the effects of British colonialism de facto British colonialism is over with. It ended when I think they gave up the last colony, Hong Kong, I think it was, when they turned that over to the Chinese. I think they may still have some, they don't have military rule over any more colonies I don't think they have like a military presence anymore in like they used to have, the British, okay? But the after effects of it are just as devastating. On America, especially Western Hemisphere, is just as devastating. The after effects of British colonialism. Now, somebody's going to look at this video and you're going to be feasting your chops, hoping that I get down on the white man. I'm going to disappoint you. Because they were hijacked. Europeans, white people, British colonialism. Or I should just stick with the British, not Europeans. Let me see. Let me think on that for a second. I need some instant wisdom. Let's say I'm just going to use the term the British, because the Oahspe says the British exactly about who Louis Mang influenced, and it ended up infecting the whole world. I think it's safe to say that. Now, let me read from the Oahspe. Now, chapter 14. For 300 years prior to the above transaction. So again, we're in chapter 14, so we're jumping into the middle of the context, okay? And I forget what the whole context is about, but the point is going to still be clear, okay? I'm going to get into the origins of British colonialism. It says, for 300 years prior to the above transactions, the four false gods had been in a war to a limited extent in their heavens. And for certain earth possessions also. So there was a war For 300 years prior to the above transactions, and if I looked at it, I'd probably, let me see if I can get a little context on what happened in chapter 13. What is the Creator talking about? Okay, it looks like Spanish Inquisition was in chapter 13. So it's dealing with the beginning of British Spanish colonialism, but the 300 years prior, I don't know exactly what that's referring to right now. It's not the point of the reading, so I'm not going to go too into detail. Just bear with me. For 300 years prior to the above transactions, I don't know what those above transactions were, the four false gods had been in a war to a limited extent in their heavens and for certain earth possessions also. So they were having a war trying to divide up the earth. In Chinea, the Kayuans, Confucians, had made great progress. Now, these are the four false gods. The four false gods are in a war trying to divide up the earth. In China, Chinea, the Kayuans, Confucians have made great progress to the injury of the false Brahma. And in Achisa, that's India, and who was in Achisa? I forget. In Achisa. I forget who was in Achisa. Who was he false god of? See, was it the Hindus? It might have been the Hindus in Achisa. Shoot. I'm gonna find out. I ain't gonna leave that hanging. I want to find out who the false gods. It's one of those things, you learn them, then you forget. Bear with me. I want to, because I might have to address them again later in the study. Okay. Now just bear with me. I want to go to the computer. I need to be reminded. It's one of them things, you remember them and then you forget them. What areas they covered. So I'm trying to go on another screen and find out. Okay, Louis Mong, Kabbalactes, the false Buddha, Inachisa, the false Brahma, inspirer of modern Brahmanism. He focused on regions like China and Venue. There was Thoth, who was the inspirer of Mohammedanism, Islam. Okay, so we got Louis Mong, Kabbalactes, Inachisa, and Thoth. Okay, so going back to the Oahspe, in China, the Kayuans, they would fall under Inachisa, I think. The Kayuans. Now I forget how, I forget the Kayuans and Confucians. Oh, wait a minute. Those were Faithists. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Jehovah. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, brother. I forgot. Yeah, the Kayuans and Confucians, they were the Faithists. It says the Faithists, the Kayuans or Confucians, they had made great progress to the injury of Brahma and Inochissa in East Asia. The Faithists, they were spreading, in other words. It says, but the latter had pushed his people into India and Parsi, the Middle East. India and Parsi. Parsi's Middle East, venue is India. And then it says, on the part of Kabbalactes, the false Buddha, he pushed his people into China and the Middle East, Parsi also. And in many parts of venue, these Buddhists had treated the Brahmas with great slaughter. So it says, but neither of the above false gods was a match for Thoth, who was the inspirer of Mohammedanism, Islam, Muslim. Thoth, alias God Gabriel, under the name and doctrines of Muhammad, he had made great inroads upon the possessions of the other two false gods, both as to the earth and heavens above them. And yet, on the other hand, Louis Mong, the false Christ, had taken advantage. So it's like you got the division of the world east of the Middle East, between Kabbalactes, between Inochissa and Brahma. And then further to the west, you got Louis Mong, who is going after Europe. Going after Europe. And yet, on the other hand, Louis Mong, the false Christ, had taken advantage of all the other three false gods. He had found mortal emissaries in Britain. Okay. So Louis Mong, he sets his sights on Britain. He found people that he could influence in Britain, whom he had inspired under the name. Okay, so let me go over this one more time. It says, and yet on the other hand, Louis Mong, the false Christ, had taken advantage of all the other three false gods, Kabbalactes, Inochissa, Thoth, and he found mortal emissaries in Britain whom he inspired in the name East Indian Company. Okay. You brother know who the East Indian Company is. It's a company that was in India doing business. Let's look at it. Let's get it on the internet. Who was the East India Company? Let me shorten the screen here. The East India Company was a powerful English joint stock company chartered in 1600, originally formed to trade spices. The East Indian Company. It expanded to conquer and colonize large parts of India, evolving into a de facto government with its own private army being dissolved by the British government in 1874. Okay, so now we know who the East India Company is. They were in India, and Louis Mong was able to use them to bring India into bondage, to bring them into bondage. He used the East India Company. He used, I did a little research on it, and it said that the powers that be in Britain, they were using Britons to run the company. They were using Brits, native Brits, who looked like East Indians. They call them East Indians. Venue, East India. Britain, the powers that be, they were using people who were native Britons who looked like East Indians to run the East India Company. So Louis Mong, he sets his sight on the East Indian Company, as a foothold to begin British colonialism. So it goes on. It says, to these he had said, come. So Louis Mong is saying here, hey, hey, you guys at the East India Company, you Britons, I'm going to show you how you can get great wealth and most luxurious enjoyment. Behold, you shall possess the place, meaning India, and overcome the heathen of a rich country. So Louis Mong led them. And let me stop here for a second and share something with y'all. You know, brother Dr. Glenn Kendall that I had on that did a couple of little segments introducing himself, and we did some audio tests. The brother who came on, Dr. Kendall, Glenn Kendall, he's a brother that can spirit travel. He can spirit travel. There are brethren in our nation who can spirit travel. You know, they can go to Yatante. It's called Yatante. They can spirit travel. And he said Louis Mong is a black man. He said Louis Mong is a black man. Louis Mong. It says, so Louis Mong, the false god Louis Mong, who's responsible for religious captivity of Christianity, it says, so Louis Mong, he led them, the Britons, the British. And they took with them missionaries, they took Bibles, swords, missionaries, British missionaries went to India. They brought their Bibles, they brought swords, cannons, and warships. And when they arrived at India and venue, Louis Mong, the false god Louis Mong, through his angel hosts, Louis Mong's emissaries and the spiritual emissaries, influenced the British and said to them, tell these heathen you are worshipers of the Lamb of Peace, that you have come in love for righteousness' sake. Missionaries spreading Christianity. And behold, they will receive you. The East Indians are going to receive you. You know, these are naturally peaceful, believing type of people. The British come under the influence of Louis Mong. They say, Louis Mong says, say, we have come. We are worshipers of the Lamb of Peace, Jesus Christ, that you have come in love, and that we British, we come in love and peace for righteousness' sake. And Louis Mong says, and behold, they will receive you. The East Indians going to receive you. But once you are within, you shall fall upon them. Once you gain their trust, once you get a foothold, fall on them, get them, and destroy them by the million, men, women, and children. And you shall also fall upon their aqueducts or water systems, which irrigate the lands, and you shall destroy them. And behold, millions of these heathens shall starve every year because of the families that shall surely come upon famines, because of the famines that shall surely come upon them. Now let's go to the internet. Did the British cause a great slaughter in India during the colonization? Yes. British colonial rule caused devastating mass casualties in India, driven largely by policy-induced famines, military massacres, and the violent suppression of uprisings. So there you go. There you go. Now, all these things came to pass. The idolaters of Louis the British, they fell upon the Buddhists, the East Indians. They fell upon the Buddhists' earthly possessions and possessed the land of India, Bennu. And in the name of Christ and the Holy Ghost, killed 7 million men, women, and children. This is beginning of British colonization under Louis Mong, a black man, over white people, influencing them to colonize weaker black and brown nations. And they also destroyed the aqueducts, which resulted in famines coming upon the East Indians, Venuans, so that in the course of time, 30 million more perished from starvation. Now, although Cabalactes, that's the god of who is it? Cabalactes, the Buddhist Cabalactes. Who was Cabalactes? He was over who? See, I can forget just that quick. Cabalactes was over Buddha. Yeah, he was over Buddha. Now, although Cabalactes thus lost in great measure his earthly possessions, he still maintained the heavens of Venu, India. So that after all his destructions, Louis Mong really gained only a few souls in heaven. A few souls. Look at this. 30 million is called a few souls. You got 30 million plus 7 million. So we got 37 million. 37 million, man. I'm trying to look for other numbers. And the Oahspe says Louis Mong really gained only a few souls in heaven. So now that could mean that he might have killed them, but it didn't mean he killed their faith in Cabalactes, Buddha, and the Buddha. So that's what that also could be saying. It said Louis Mong had also led his mortal emissaries into China in the hope of possessing that country also. So now here come the British. Here come the British into China. What did they do to them? What did the British under a black man, a false god, do? Louis Mong, a false god, a black man, according to Dr. Kendall. And you know, something just came to me. Something is telling me to go to the Bible. Something is saying, go to the Bible. Okay. And do what? And one that looked like the Son of Man, having hair of wool and feet of bronze. Yep, that could be referring to a picture of Louis Mong. If Dr. Kendall is right. If Dr. Kendall is right, and he said that in his travels to the spirit world, Louis Mong, if he's a black man, then the picture is in the Bible of what's more than likely Louis Mong, because that is a black man pictured. His head and his hairs were white like wool and white as snow, and his eyes were the flame of fire. You know how you hear some brethren make a joke out of, you know, when a black man drinks and his eyes turn red? So that inspiration, it just came to me. Now, you know, it's picturing a black man. His feet were like feet of bronze. That's a picture of a black man. his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. And his voice is the sound of many waters. Think of James Earl Jones, This is CNN. That deep voice that he had. That's a picture of a black man right there. And he's pictured as the Son of Man. See? He's pictured as the Son of Man. So this is very deep. We got a picture. We probably have a picture of Louis Mong here. Louis Mong had also led his mortal emissaries into China in the hope of possessing that country also. So now you got India. Now you want China. All right. Louis Mong said to the British, go there and enforce upon them the opium trade. Okay. So drug them. So send drugs to them. And it shall come to pass that they will become a drugged and worthless people, and you shall fall upon them and overcome them and possess all their country in which there are stored riches. All right, let's see what happened. How did the Chinese have a problem with opium trade? China's crisis was with what caused the Chinese opium pandemic? There we go. There we go. The opium trade in China was primarily driven by the British East India Company. The British, that's all we need to know. In order to balance a massive trade deficit. So they owed a lot. They owed a lot of money. In order to even that out, to make money, make a profit, they drugged China. They sent drugs into China. In the 18th and early 19th centuries, Western demands for Chinese luxury goods like tea, silk, and porcelain skyrocketed. Because China had little interest in European goods, Britain was forced to pay for these imports heavily in silver. They didn't want to do that. So in order to make up the balance, they drugged them. They made them become addicts. And it gave them a windfall. It gave them a windfall. It gave them a windfall, and they were able to make up the deficit. The British, man, and under Louis Mong, British colonization, and the idolaters of the false Christ, the British, they fell upon the Chinese and enforced the opium trade. They made them import that stuff, made them import it. And when you get addicted, may the Creator help you, man. If you fall into the hands of meth, coke, crack, you name it, may the Creator help you, man. Once it get a hold of you, all it got to do is get you once. I don't have to tell you. And the idolaters of the false Christ fell upon the Chinese and enforced the opium trade, and also made many of them a drugged and worthless people. And after they were thus drugged, the idolaters of the false Christ raised the cry, behold, the drugged heathen, the indulgers in opium. So they made them addicted, and then they accused them of being addicted. Nevertheless, the faithists of China, the Kayuans, were a mighty power, and they baffled Louis Mong's emissaries and all further encroachment. So you couldn't get a faithist. You couldn't get him to do opium. You couldn't get a faithist to do it. Louis Mong, he appealed to the flesh, and it didn't work with the faithists. Now, although Louis Mong had been beaten by the wisdom of God in possessing the colonies of Guatemala, now he's coming for America. Now he come, and this is where the story picks up. Now he got India, he got China. Now he coming for America. Guatemala. Now, although Louis Mong had been beaten by the wisdom of God in possessing the colonies of Guatemala, nevertheless, Louis Mong still hoped to regain the country to himself. He didn't quit. He wanted America. I'm going to get America by hook or crook, one way or the other. I'm going to get America. I see what the Creator is doing over there. I read the Oahspe before it was published in heaven. I saw where the Creator said that he was going to start from America to bring the kingdom on the earth. I read that. So in order to thwart that plan, I gotta get America for myself somehow. I gotta get America for myself. I gotta get America. Okay, so it says, now, although Louis Mong had been beaten by the wisdom of God and possessing the colonies of Guatemala, the Quakers, nevertheless, Louis Mong still hoped to regain the country to himself. And to carry out his designs, he sent 2 billion angel warriors to accomplish the destruction of the Algonquin tribes that inhabited the country, the Native Americans. And this also came to pass. The idolaters of Louis Mong fell upon the natives, the Algonquins, and caused 3 million of them to be put to death. Men, women, and children. Okay. I'm going to go a little further, and then I'm going to get to the study. Okay. When the right time came, Jehovah spoke to God, saying, my son, behold, the cosmic era, where we are now, the cosmic era is near. And the light of the ark of Suez enters the fields of paradise. That should make faith to scream and shout. You brethren, anyone who sees this video, this should make you scream for joy right here. But in the Oahspe, it's an inconsequential verse. You could just easily read it and then just go back to sleep. The Creator says, right now, where we are, we us faithists. Look at here. I'm going to read again. It says, when the right time came, now, which is now, 1848 was the beginning of the cosmic era. It says, when the right time came, Jehovah spoke to God, saying, my son, behold. Oh, shoot, man. I had promised, I noticed something that I wasn't doing. And my mind is saying, do it now. Okay. I had purposed to put the link in the room and then just leave it there. So at some point, somebody may want to comment on what I'm talking about. So, okay, now I'm in the chat for a second. Brethren, how you doing? There's Robert Bayer, the Thursday brother. His link is in the description area. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. I hope you keep pushing. I hope whatever you do, brother, you keep pushing, man. I might as well greet everybody. I'm in the chat for a second. Tabitha, good to see you, Tabitha. Just came from shopping. Let's see. Oh, yep. Seeing Louis Mong may be a black man. This is why there's black Buddha and even black Indian gods. Louis Mong is a black man. Dr. Glenn Kendall, who does spirit travel, he said Louis Mong is a black man. Oh, Brother Prince is in here, or he was. It says, this is America the Beautiful, land of liberty, but not without responsibility to serve one another in light of the one ever present creator. Okay. See, Robert says Louis Mong may have been the most absolute, without a shadow of a doubt. That was the top false god. Let me see. Prince said July 4th, Holy Compact Day and Fallen Swords Day, liberty and happiness of harmony to the faithless. Yeah, I hope that marks something, that means something for the spread of light, the coming 250th anniversary. I hope it means something. Okay. All right. So I don't usually come on the chat in the middle of a lesson. So I wanted to come in because I wanted to put my link in the room. Hold on. Now it's there's some more posts. Okay, so I wanted to address everybody. I don't usually do that on video because I get discombobulated. So there's the link. So now I can trust that somebody wants to come on and share a word, then I don't have to, they'll just do it on their own. All right, so let me get back. So when I left off in chapter 14 of the book of ES, Louis Mong went about and captured India. He captured China. And now he's got his sights set on America. The name of the title of the video is The Oahspe Critique of British Colonialism. And it goes even deeper. And I made the statement that Louis Mong, a false god, is a black man. And he was the one that took Britain. He took the British. He's responsible for British colonialization, how he hijacked white people to do that. You see? So you see how misplaced racism is? Does anybody see that? Do you see how he also takes us captive by our ignorance? You see that? Does anyone see how deceptive a false god can be? So we look at white people and see the goal is to be divided. The goal, white people didn't become white until they came to America. The French, the British, the Italians, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Germans. It was like somebody said, instead of calling them all by their nationality, let's just group them together and become a political bloc serving our own interests. And that's where, and I'm just paraphrasing. And now you got what we got now. You see, all of it influenced by a false god, a black false god at that. Now, do you see how misplaced and insidious racism is? The influence that eventually, and I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to go a little deeper here. Let's just keep reading. I'll get to what, it says, when the right time came, Jehovah spoke to God, saying, my son, behold, the cosmic era is near, and the light of the ark of Suez enters the fields of paradise. I'm telling you, man, if somebody don't scream, I'm going to go crazy. Look at just think about what he's saying here, man. That's where, we traveling. The creator is saying right now, he's saying we are approaching the ark. He says, when the right time came, Jehovah spoke to God, saying, my son, behold, the ark cosmic era is near, and the light of the ark of Suez enters the fields of paradise. That means that's what we're heading for. Do you know this is talking about the kingdom on the earth? It says, stretch forth your hand over the nations of the earth and over the heavens of them, and sweep your kingdoms clean for my everlasting light. Now, don't think that because it hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? I don't even have to say. You already know that things happen very quickly in the spiritual, but very slowly on the earth. See what I mean? very slowly on the earth. Then God sent forth his disciplined host, 12 billion, to cut off the supplies of the earth, to cut off the false gods. Even as a mortal, to cut off religion. Then God, the God of the earth at the time of the cosmic era, then God sent forth his disciplined host, 12 billion, to cut off the supplies of the earth. That means to cut off religion, to cut off the deception that feeds religion, that feeds Louis Mong, the false gods. In other words, send them the Oahspe. Send them the Oahspe. And the Oahspe is going to prune his floor. It's going to prune it, clean cut. Even as a mortal general cuts off supplies of a wicked city to subdue it. He go right after the supply lines. That's what governments, nations, armies do. They look for supply routes and cut them off. Even as a mortal general cuts off the supplies of a wicked city to subdue it, so was the accumulated power of the all light upon the four kingdoms of the four false gods, and they who had proclaimed themselves saviors of mortals and angels. And the angels of God spread around the whole earth. These are faithless angels, and armies of millions and tens of millions well disciplined. They gathered together the mortal cities and then the country places among all nations, tribes of the earth. Now, this is not a work completed. You got to remember that. This is more prophetical. This is going on right now. Right now, man. Right now. And if you ask me, I think a flood is coming. A flood, like a flood, man. You know, a big, like a faithless flood. Just all of us, like we go to sleep. And then we wake up and the headlines say, there is a new race of people in the world. How did they, just like the creation of the world, like all of a sudden, man, it's people, faithless, everywhere, just like the creation of man. How was it one man? Was it two men at a time? Did he create, was it 3 and 4 and 5 and 6? What do you mean there was a nation born at once? It's a whole bunch. They all over the place. How the hell did they get here? What the hell happened? Okay, I realize that may sound kooky, but I believe that's a possibility. The creator, we could learn the ending from the beginning. All of a sudden, faith is all over the world, man. A harvest. I'm sorry, I got to tell this story again because it makes my point. It helps me make my point. I remember when I was in junior high school. I went to school one day. Everybody's wearing clothes, I went to school the next day. All the guys were wearing black uniforms with numbers. And I was thoroughly caught off guard. I was like, what is this? Somebody said that's the football team. The football team. And I was thinking, now I might have liked to have played. You mean I went all summer without knowing that they were practicing and trying out? You mean you didn't get the word? And so you get blindsided. Now I'm saying that like same thing. It's many people who do not get they don't come into the light. The light went out. And then all of a sudden an explosion happened and they get caught totally off guard, And these angel armies were officered and drilled to work in concert, these faithists, with lines of light extending to the throne of God. See, that's what's going on right now. You know, these different little ministries that nobody care about. It don't get nobody's attention. Inconsequential, you know. See? And God spoke in paradise by means of the lines of light, meaning from the angels to the faithists. See? Because it says, and his voice went into all the mighty armies of the hosts, the angels, 12 billion, saying, cut off the earth supplies of the four beasts of the earth. And they had their countless legions of followers. And they and their countless legions of followers have become profitless in the resurrection of mortals and angels, meaning religion, there ain't nothing they can do no more for people. All it does is stagnate people. Christianity, Islam, Hindu, Buddhism, there is no more profit in any of them. No more profit. Their names have become a stench upon the earth. Their mortal followers are grovelers and all manner of uncleanness. Their spirits have become as vagabonds on the earth and in the lowest heavens. My hosts have tried to persuade them, but my hosts, that's the faithists. My hosts have tried to persuade them, but they will not hear. The light of the upper kingdoms they will not receive. But I will make the How do you make a mortal look up? But I will make them look up. I will get your attention. I'm going to get your attention. How's he going to do that? How do you get a man's attention? You got to show him power. You know, to get a man on the earth to respect you, you have to show him some sort of power. And then he breaks like a little baby. A man will break like a little baby, man. You know, he'll break like a little baby. Oh, shoot, man. I got a notification. I didn't know. Hey, Prince is here. Is he still here? Let me see. Let me bring him up. Hey, Prince, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Salute, big brother. How you doing, man?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Can anybody hear? Hey, Prince, can you hear? He might have left.
Hello?
I'm sorry, man. I don't look at the chat. I got a notification. Okay, so I guess he's gone. So he was here and he left. I didn't see the brother. Dang, man. He evidently it came on. Oh man, I hate that, man. If somebody wants to come on, shoot, man. I'm really sorry about that. Oh wow. Okay, so doggone it. But I don't look at the chat anymore. But it'll send me a notification if somebody clicks on the link. Okay, so let me pick up. Sorry, brother. Sorry, Prince, if you hear this. I didn't mean to skip you like that. All right, so let's just keep going anyway. My hosts have tried to persuade them. The light of the upper kingdoms, they will not receive it. Talking about the earth, talking about Louis Mongs, talking about the four followers. It's like the creator saying, hey, look, I tried, man. They would not in this word right there. Now, we are at a time right now where people are going to look up. That means when you look for help. Remember in the Bible, it talked about the Israelites. They came to a point. The Egyptians was right behind them. And the Red Sea was in front of them. And they couldn't do nothing but look up. Look up. It said they stood there with their little ones, man. You know what I mean? Meaning It was a time of desperation. And here in the Oahspe, the creator's saying, I tried and I tried. I tried and I tried, man. You know, you would not receive. Now I will make you look up. And there is a serious threat. I'll spare you, man. I've been through all that before. You know what the deal is. The time that we're living in, that's the only way you can reach mortals. You have to touch their flesh. You got to touch their flesh, man. Like beasts that are untamed, they shall see. I'm getting a lot of messages here. Hold on. Oh, shoot. My brother. Hey, thanks, Chuck. Oh, my goodness. Let me go back in the room. My brother said I couldn't hear him. The brother is, hey, Prince, are you still here? Oh, come back on. Come back. Oh, he is here. Hold on. Hey, can you hear me, Prince?
Yeah, peace. Can you hear me?
Can y'all hear him? Type a 1 if you can hear the brother. It could be
I can
my
hear
audio.
you. I can hear you fine.
Can some type? Hey, Prince? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh,
For
shoot.
some reason, you can't
My
hear me,
brother
but I can
said
hear you.
he hears you. Oh, shoot. So I'm doing something wrong. It's on my end.
Yeah, you must have me muted on your side or something.
Oh, man.
Take your time.
See, my brother said he said he can hear you fine, but I can't hear him, though. I can't hear. Oh, shoot, man. What's the problem now? I can't hear the brother.
You just got me muted somewhere, probably.
Dang.
They can hear both. She
See,
said,
Amber said we can hear both of you. I can't hear
that's
him
odd.
though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna my brother, he's texting me. He said you might have him muted on your site. Oh, okay. Let me see. Do I have the brother muted?
Or maybe you got your volume turned down.
I can't hear the brother. Now what the hell is going on? Hold on. Let me.
Maybe if you drop off.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's see if this is the problem. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what the problem. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Hold on a second.
Check 1. Check.
There you go. I got you. Yeah.
Hey, brother, what's popping with you, man? How you doing, big brother?
Hey,
good to hear
man,
from
you. What the heck brings you around, man? How you doing?
Oh, you know, it's a holy season right now. So, I'm just trying to spread as much love, light, happiness, harmony, and balance as I can with the family of faithists who know what it is with Creator, So, I be making my rounds, man, and I just want to touch down with my brother. You shining so much light, it's impossible not to see and hear and feel.
Yeah, it's a pretty controversial subject tonight, man.
Yeah, America is a beautiful land, man. Gautama, the land of the 4 tribes, Turtle Island. It's a beautiful land. What the Creator is doing here from Etheria down, the earth is amazing. The abolishment of the worship of saviors and the worshiping of lords and gods, that all began and begins here. And we are the ones sparking it off. So it just feels good to have that ignition, that igniter energy, coming through us from EOI. It feels good.
Hey, what do you think about what I said earlier about when you look at the creation account? It's like the Oahspe it talks about how it's like all of a sudden people appeared on the earth. It's like an explosion of people, mankind, all of a sudden everywhere on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be it could be an example of what he's going to do with us in our day. Like all of a sudden, an explosion of faith is, and I mean like an explosion, and nobody knows where we came from.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a
Do
lot.
that
And
make
that's,
sense?
yeah,
It could be. Hey, I don't know.
no, well, the creator has a system in order to every event, everything that happened, and it's not just random. So I would say, in my, the way I'm discerning it is, it would make sense. And I read somewhere, I think it's in the Book of Radiance. The Book of Radiance has a section in there that talks about how there will be a spontaneous awakening worldwide when people
Mm-hmm.
realizing that their conscience is the creator, and
Mm-hmm.
they just start leaning to higher light because it's the time for it. You obviously you're gonna have those who go the other way down to ooze, but
Mm-hmm.
the creator knows his children, and those of us who choose creator, simply put, he's activating the light, like you were talking about with in the book of S, in the angels, they had a line of light, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They were linked together with the information that put us in harmony and balance and fairness and peace and all that righteous energy and goodness and just serving each other. And not only that, but increasing in talent and abilities and your job and all of that, your personality, refining yourself, and for the benefit of the all is what it's about in Cosmos. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
spontaneous awakening of that. And not only that, but during this holy time of Holy Compact Day and Fallen Swords Day, the 4th of July, um, that there's an awakening of freedom to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? There's an
Mm-hmm.
awakening, a power that's uh, percolating in the souls of men and women all over the world, just to have this liberty to
Hey, that was
know.
very nicely put, man. I like that.
Thank you, my brother. I try.
That was
I just
pretty
want to make I
good,
just want to
man.
make it
Yeah.
simple, make it simple and plain, man, so that we, because for me, the creator is the most simply understood of all things. Like you were saying before, Luamong, the false gods and these false religions have made everything so complicated with so many unnecessary beliefs and rituals and dealing with blood sacrifices and sacrificing animals and putting blood on the doorpost. No, 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 no. That's not what creator would ever inspire anyone to do. Simply put, but you
Mm-hmm.
say it's controversial because this is the beginning of Cosmos. 1848 to now is 178, 79 years. The new year's coming up. The solstice just passed. So, we're in the very beginning stages of this spontaneous awakening of liberty to do good works unto all without the service to a false God that's demanding your
Mm-hmm.
blood sacrifices and wars and, you know.
I think I see signs all over the place, man. A lot of the stuff I don't really share on the channel here because I might sound too crazy, but I'll do it, man.
Mhm.
I'll give a little example.
It's the time for
I
crazy now.
you said something earlier that made me think of the No Kings rally. How people are bucking the system and want to be free. You know,
Mhm.
they tired, man, of
Mhm.
living in. That's what I was going to get to later on in the video. I was going to talk about the advent of capitalism. How British colonialism has died, but the after effects are really just as devastating because it's the British colonialism. It gave birth to capitalism. It gave birth to capitalism,
Right.
and that's a dog eat dog system. Other
Oh, yeah.
nations don't have the type of system that we have. And I was also going to mention that Iran, they could be opening a door to nations uniting under their struggle against Western powers and the oppression that Western powers are trying to put on them. The creator, he could be somehow using them to open a door to break the old tradition of
Mhm.
things of
Mhm.
warfare and military. And it could be the creator
Most
is
definitely.
showing, does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes definitely. Yeah, like you said before. No, not you. I was talking to my little cousin, my little cousin Caleb earlier.
and he was telling me about how what was it? Basically, there's basically going to be there's a reset. This is a reset time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and people are starting to become, because we have so much history. We know the history of the earth. We've been living this and watching it for so long and so many years. Like you said, people are tired, and it's not hard. None of this. It's not complicated to implement systems that abolish poverty and prevent diseases. All you got to do is start telling people to eat fruits and vegetables. Simple. And now you got a whole world, instead of pushing McDonald's and Burger King and all these financial capitalistic institutions that just want your money and not your health. And you know, salute to the Minister of Wellness over in Africa who's feeding all these orphan girls and children fruits and vegetables every day. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way to prevent poverty, sickness, and disease. You see what I'm saying? So being the most powerful country in the world, in America, and I'm not talking about the United States government. I'm talking about the people of America. We are being inspired by hundreds of millions of angels from high-raised places in the heavens, whether you believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? Not only them, but the Creator directly is activating our spirits to just be members of the faithist. How can I put this? When you align yourself with righteousness and goodness, right? You also align yourself into that light with the high-raised kingdoms. I'll say that instead of angels. The kingdoms of the heavens above us, they already operate without money already today, right now. They don't have systems of capitalism there.
So let me ask you something, since you said that, because that's the gist of the study tonight. What do you think about the shoot, now I just forgot. I was going to say, what do you think about the what I've talked about so far?
Yeah, that's how I'm glad you brought back to that, because the systems of the capitalism and all of that coming from Britain and all of that inheritance that America has mimicked, even going back to Roman times, the whole capitalistic idea, I believe, I want to say it was birthed during the time of Cephas, when men become controlling and institute governments of control of society, and capitalism is one of those systems of slavery and control.
Now that might be that's see, let me stop you there for 1 second. Let me stop you here for 1 second, because from what I understand, I'm glad you brought that up, because in my study tonight, what I was gonna I'm gonna probably get ahead of myself a little bit. Pre-Renaissance time, the Europeans were basically serfs and peasants.
Right.
And that's almost on the level of a hunter gatherer.
Right.
Where better, you just a little better than the beast of the field.
Barbarians.
Yeah, whatever you could find, that's what you eat. However you can survive, that's how you do it. And so they were on that level. And so when the Renaissance came around and New Thought came around, the people started to demand like freedom, liberty, and then the New World was discovered. And so, have you ever heard of Bacon's Rebellion?
Yeah, I have heard of that.
And basically, the point I'm trying to make is that the system of capitalism, when they began to migrate over here, they brought that with them. Does that make sense?
Of course it makes sense. We inherited that system in order of all of that stuff. But like I was saying,
and they brought that mindset with them of hunting and scavenging and domination and oppression.
Right. And we had people here in the Americas, the Iroquois, who they still were hunter-gatherer types as well, but they still worshiped and praised the Great Spirit.
Yeah, see, you sound like you should have did this study.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right here with you, man.
Yeah.
Because it's very simple. It's not complicated.
When Louis Mon got a hold of the British, when he got a hold of them, man, and he took them into captivity,
Mhm.
and they brought that Bacon. First of all, let me Bacon's rebellion was instrumental.
Yeah.
in
Talk about that a little bit more,
Ba-
because I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I have heard of it before.
yeah. They came over here and settled. The Europeans, they came over here and settled. Hey, before I finish that, can I ask you something real quick?
Go ahead.
When did white people become white? What did you hear?
Oh, so yeah, that goes back to what you were talking about earlier with how man was put on the planet originally, right? And there's a scientific term called two terms actually that explain what Oahspe teaches in science, provable science.
But I mean like on the corporal level, like before. See, from what they were Europeans before they migrated to America. Did you ever?
Well,
hear
you know,
that?
the first European was black, right? Was
I didn't
a
know that.
copper color.
No. Well, I know that black men were like Scotland and even Britain. I think.
Yeah, Cheddar
Pop-
Man.
you know.
If you look up Cheddar Man is the oldest fossilized person that they found in Europe, and he was copper colored.
Yeah. Well, I
But
know Europa is named after a black woman. Europe.
yeah,
You know,
see, that's what I'm saying. The indigenous to Europe were also brown skin too. But this is how
yeah.
this is how if somebody was, because even Bob Marley and them used to say white people were made on the moon and all this funny stuff, funky stuff. But
Yeah.
the reality is, well, what we can see in Oahspe and in some sciences, they talk about what they call multi-regional and panspermium.
Mm-hmm.
Those two ideologies explain how the creator initially created man all over the planet at one time.
Yeah. But let me stop you, man, because you're
Go
gonna with that Gemini mind of yours.
you ain't never lied.
You're gonna skyrocket on me, and I ain't gonna be able to see.
I'm not. I like to keep it simple, man. I like to really keep everything simple. I don't like overcomplicating things myself. I like.
No, you don't, man. It's just that.
I try not to. Sometimes I can be a little bit,
No, it's all good, man. I just want to, before I forget the point that I was trying to make.
Oh yeah, take your time.
On our level, when they were just Europeans and then they migrated over here, they became white over here. And so far as being categorized.
Got you. I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
it's like they were like different nationality. You had the German,
right.
Portuguese, Spanish.
Now all of a sudden they're just white. Yeah.
So it's like, how America's got a fascination with shortening things, and combining, consolidating.
Right. So conjunction. What's your function, huh?
Picking up letters and words and phrases.
Man.
They became white over here. See, and it goes along with the after effects of British colonialism. Louis Hmong, he showed them how to acquire. Okay, they were peasants. They were servants. They were under. They were under. They were under a kingship. They didn't have land rights. And so they had to work to eat. And to work to live.
Right.
And so naturally, you get a person like that, they're gonna want to go free. But the problem is that at the time that the New World was discovered and the Renaissance kicked off, they were given a deal because they were indentured. They came over here. They had the right. I'm gonna get to Bacon's Rebellion. I'm leading up to Bacon's Rebellion.
Gotcha.
And so they when the New World was discovered, they were given the option of coming over here, working for their freedom. Working for ownership of land, working for they just had to go into servitude, indentured servitude.
Right.
And so while they were over here in indentured servitude and doing business with the I forget the group, the tribe of Indians. They're not really Indians, because that word means savage. But while they were doing business with the natives, one European ripped off a native chief. He ripped him off. So that native chief raided his property and
Mhm.
and stole some stuff or whatever, you know.
Right.
And then the dude, they raided his property. The dude didn't want to pay, so they raided his property. I
Mhm.
don't know if they killed anybody. And then it was a back and forth. When the natives raided that property, then one of the dudes named Bacon,
Mhm.
he got back and killed some innocent natives who didn't have anything to do with it.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he just went and killed some of the innocent and those who had actually did it. And then it got, you know, from there it picked up, right? And so the landowners eventually, the indentured servants started demanding their rights, you know,
Right.
because
As
when
they should.
the rebel
As they should.
when they came and when the natives came and, you know, they got some payback for some things that they sold that they weren't paid for,
Mhm.
and the indentured servants rose up and struck them back. In addition to that, they started rising up against the landowners, indentured servants, you know.
Mhm.
And then the plantation owners, they didn't want that threat to
Right.
their authority and rulership.
Mhm. Of
And
course they
so
didn't. Especially not. Mhm.
and so they concluded, you know,
To murder.
why don't we just go get African slaves who we can enslave for free? We don't
Mhm.
have to let them go free. And so Bacon's rebellion, it brought about
The slave trade.
it brought about slavery. It also helped to spring capitalism on the
Mm.
earth. They
Wow.
brought that. So Louis Mong, you know, the British, they had this mindset basically of being hunter gap. Well, I don't want to say that, you know, but they were on a peasant and a serf level. And they
Right.
had that mindset that it's like if you give somebody the chance, they're going to break free, and then they're going to do the same to other people. They're going to go for domination. They're going to go for dominion. They're going to go for, you know what I mean?
That's a term called Stockholm syndrome. When
Well,
the
no,
slave.
that's a little different.
Well, it's the
That's
same.
where
In a sense, in my mind, it's the concept is when you're oppressed, you become the oppressor, right? So.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good. Yeah. But they brought that mindset over here. It seemed like when you've been in that position where you ain't had nothing and you're on the bottom, once you get a taste of that,
That
you get a
power.
little taste of power, man, you don't give it up so easily.
No.
Matter of fact, you're going to buffer it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to create a system
to keep it yours.
and you're going to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what we got now. We got that today. We got a system, a democracy in name only, but
Right.
you look at the fruits of it.
All kind of secret societies and
yeah, and you look at the fruits of it, and you see people you see this imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
great imbalance, yes, and it's an unnecessary imbalance for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you don't really. I mean, see, it's like the one thing that separates British colonialism from other empires is their Louis Mong. He inspired them.
Right.
You know,
their God.
They had a brutality about them when it came to protecting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man. They pulled no punches.
Yeah,
none.
holding on to power. You know,
and still to this day, their sons and daughters, those same drug type people who were inspired by Louis Mong at that time, their children today are still the same. They still they will kill, they will steal.
Yeah,
they will,
yeah.
You know,
that's
it's
what I was
the
saying
same
earlier.
energy.
When you look at like their movie posters, you always see them holding a gun.
Right.
You always see, you know.
Can you do me a favor? Or
yeah.
I was gonna ask a question if you could pull up something from me in Oahspe, because it's dealing with slavery, like I said, it's Holy Compact Day on the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know a lot of this. We were taught history from a perspective of the conquerors, the colonialists, the colonizers. We weren't taught the true history. That's why another reason why I love Oahspe, because I used to love history. I still do. But when I was in high school, that was one of my favorite classes, maybe because my teacher was just such a great teacher. He was hilarious, but he didn't take no mess, but he was funny all the time, kept us laughing. And we learned so much information because it was just a light class. But anyway, my point is that in Oahspe, it's so much American history in Oahspe. If you haven't, like you just read through the Book of S, in the Book of S, chapter 8, it talks about George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And,
oh yeah.
All that history from the heavens above, from Oahspe, sky or spirit, gives you a different perspective of all of it, and it changes. So for me, it was like to see the Holy Compact Day, 4th of July, because I came through a Hebrew Israelite pathway towards Oahspe, and we used to say that the 4th of July wasn't a good day, right? Because that's the 4th of they lie, what we used to say, because they lied. That's what we thought. But once I read it and found out that America is actually a special place for the awakening of the ever presence of the Creator, the American people here are actually we actually all have a job. We all.
Hey, let me stop you for a second, brother. Let me stop for a second, because one of the reasons why I did this study, is because I want to show how unfounded racism is.
How unfounded it is?
I want to show how illogical it is. I want to show how illogical how we have been duped.
Yeah, did you turn to the book of Judgment in chapter?
No, 30? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that right now. I wanted to go back to the study, brother, if you don't mind, if you won't be offended. I don't want to get away from the topic because it's a long study. I'll probably have to.
I didn't know you was tracking on a study in my bad.
I was just reading from.
Go ahead, do your thing. I'm gonna be my mic.
I wanted to set up the study that I have in a few seconds from now. So
let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this real quick. I gotta rehearse some songs for this church I play at. So I'm gonna drop down, but like I said, I just wanted to come say what's up to the Faithless family and to my brother Yaquab. Salute to you, man. Keep pushing this light out. You are doing immense work, and it's not in vain. So salute to you, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. The Creator be with you.
And you as well, sir. Bless up.
All right.
All right, peace.
All right, man. Well, that was refreshing. The brother came on. That was nice. Thank you, Jehovah. All right. Well, let me see. Let me get back to the study. I was in the middle. When I left off, I was talking about how Louis Mong now he is setting his sights on America. When we left off, let me try to get back to where I was at. I might clicked off of it. Let's see. Let me try to get back to where I was. Okay. So when I left off, we were talking about how Louis Mong now he sets his sights on America. Going to set his sights on America. And he's instructing the angels to cut off the supplies of false gods. That means to cut. To me, it means to bring to let the light fall on the earth or in the red star. Let the light fall. And that's going to do the cutting off. It's going to do the end of deception and unbelief. Verse 15 or verse 7, chapter 15, ES, book of ES, cut off the earth supplies of the four beasts of the earth. Okay, now, since the brother got on and I'm running a little late, I'm going to go ahead and get to the study. I'm not going to get to the end of it I ain't going to get nowhere near the end. So I probably have to make it part 2 and 3. I was talking before I left, before Prince came on, about how I will make them look up. And in our day and age, I've been talking about how we are looking at a time where the oil and gas that this country and the world desperately needs has been, for the most part, cut off. For the most part, it's been cut off. That means that the pipeline has been dried up for right now. For the most part, it's been dried up. It's almost like the supply is being cut off. And that's the only way you're going to get people's attention, is you have to do things like that to get them off of the flesh. So let me leave that right here, chapter 15, book of ES. You can read it. Let me go to the study real quick and take that to the end of the video. So let me, let's see. Let's bring up the study. So bear with me 1 second, and I'll bring up the study. Okay, here we go. Now let's make sure that I'm sharing it. Okay, I am sharing it. All right, so I'm not in the chat, so just to let y'all know, I'm on the study. Now, we read the book of ES, chapter 14. The name of the study is British Colonialism and Oahspe, chapter 14. The after effects of British colonialism. It says, no, Oahspe's ideal kingdom, Joby's kingdom on earth, does not compare with or resemble British colonialism. The text sharply contrasts them. British-style empire building, especially in India and China, is depicted as violent, deceptive scheme by a false god, while Joby's kingdom emphasizes a peaceful, voluntary, non-hierarchical, communal living without conquest, rulers, or exploitation. So again, I want to emphasize one of the points of this study here is that we are a world of people who are divided. We have people who are racist, both on the black, the white side, even those are constructs, black, white, and the division, it comes from a false god. White people, the British, who are responsible for many of the systems that we live under today, the way of life, the form of government, the economy, that comes from colonization. Colonization, man. It comes from the influence of a false god upon people. When you are motivated, I'm sorry I'm digressing, man. I'm just trying to make my point that when you're presented with an opportunity to prosper and to acquire and to possess and to dominate, you can elevate above your, what's a good word for? You can, I'm trying to look for a good word for progress. When you have the opportunity, if the opportunity presents yourself to take charge, you can become pretty creative in holding on and insulating the power that has been given to you. You can become pretty insulated when it comes to protecting your fortunes, your possessions, and that is exactly what has happened. They were peasants, they were serfs, the Europeans, they came to the New World, they were promised opportunity, if they became indentured servants, serve for 4 or 7 years, you would buy your freedom, you would buy a new opportunity. The time came when they fulfilled their indentured servitude. They rose up. They started to demand rights. It was a threat to the landowners. They said, hey, we need to find people who won't threaten us, who won't have any rights. Now you got the African slave trade. But the progenitor of all these things, in short, was Louis Mong. Louis Mong, who the brother, Dr. Kendall tells me, is a black man, a brother who is able to travel to the spirit world. And there are fate who can do that, man. And he said he is a black man. And Revelation, where it talked about hair white as wool, feet like bronze, and he was called the Son of Man. So there's some things that are beyond the realm of coincidence, a little beyond the realm of coincidence for me. And he has gotten us to be divided from one another. Racism, division in this country is thick. It is super thick, man. And it's deep too, embedded in people's soul, man, to hate one another, to kill one another. The effects of British colonialism, man, the effects of British colonialism. The effects of British colonialism, and all the while, nobody knows about Louis Mong and how he played a hand in everything that's going on, even in the system we're under right now. Nobody knows. Churches are not going to teach about Louis Mong's effect on British colonialism and the current system that we live under. They don't know, don't care. Oahspe's critique of British colonialism. Oahspe's critique of British colonialism. It says in the book of S, oh, I lost my screen there. Wow, it just don't want me to read it. In the book of ES, daughter of Jehovah, chapter, 14? The false god Louis Mong, the false Christ, inspires the British East India Company. Louis Mong, he inspires the British East India Company. Louis Mong had found mortal emissaries. Okay, so we read that, showing what happened and how the British were taken into captivity. He promised them wealth and riches. They said, how? He said, go to India. You got the East Indian Company over there. You know, go over there. Tell them you come in peace. Tell them you come under the Lamb of Peace. They're going to believe you. Then you fall on them. And he said, go to China. Go over to China. Bring your opium with them. They'll become addicted and then fall on them. And then we have America. Now set your sights on America. Set your sights on America. Let's go get them. But it didn't work so easy. It says the text describes the outcomes as mass killings, millions dead, destruction of infrastructure causing famines, tens of millions more perishing, opium trade enforcement in China under hypocritical pretexts, and overall conquest for wealth and power, all in service of expanding Louis Mong's heavenly kingdom through earthly deceit and violence. This is presented as part of the beast system and lower resurrection cycles that Jehovah's Light eventually sweeps away. And that could be the case right now. This thing with Iran, the war over there, Iran, Israel, United States, these no kings rallies. I think the situation with Iran, I think is prophetic. I think that the world is going to align with Iran's, their peaceful state, their tolerant stance. They see the evil that Israel and the United States are doing, trying to get them to fight, to war, to engage in warfare. And they're protecting themselves, and the way that they're striking back, nobody can really argue with it. The bottom line is that the attempt by America and Israel to create chaos and to create division. I think people are seeing through that. I think that in that way, people, I'm telling you, man, these No Kings rallies, that is prophetic, man. People tired of the old tradition that the Oahspe talks about, rulerships of kings, monarchs, tyrants. And I think that he's using Iran in a way that we don't really see right now to usher in the king. America is, he said, America is the nation that he's going to use to start the spread of the light over the world. But I don't see how India or Iran cannot play a small part in the stance that they're taking in the attacks that they are being suffered. I think the world sees that and they're resonating with that. I could be wrong. Similar patterns are attributed to other false gods, false Brahma, Buddha, inciting wars and dominions. Oahspe's vision of Jehovah's kingdom on earth, this is outlined in books like Book of Jehovah's Kingdom on Earth and Book of Shalem. It calls for voluntary egalitarian colonies, communities without, look at that, without kings, emperors, rulers, or standing armies. I'm telling you, those No Kings rallies are from the Creator, man. That is inspired. No Kings rallies, man. I think, the Creator is moving in ways we might not see so well. The Oahspe says he only permits chaos, warfare for a short season, man. And I hope I'm right, man, about the creation of man. It was like you read and you get the sense that they all appeared at once, and it's the same thing with faith. We got brethren. We finding out about the Oahspe. Nobody knows about us. Don't nobody care. But globally, it's faith all. I've heard from faith even from Japan, from Asia, all over Asia. So I'm but that don't really prove anything. Because you, brethren, too. Europe, I've heard from faithists from Europe, Middle East. So it's like same thing with us. The same thing, man. Nobody knows us. They don't care about us. They won't listen to us. And then, like we read earlier, the book of Es, the Creator, he said, but I will make them look up. It don't have to be ominous. It could be all of a sudden, man, a headline. There's a new race of people on the earth. Where the hell did they come from? It's faith that's all over the world. Who are these people? Just like creation, all at once. And you never knew. You never knew, man. Okay, I might be dreaming a little bit, but boy, I hope I'm right, man. I hope I'm right. It'll be some shouting in that day. It will be some jumping up and down for your behind, man. If we explode on the earth, but I don't know, man. I hope so. I'm just dreaming. This is the Creator's kingdom. Focus on raising orphans, vulnerable in love, education, and shared labor. Characteristics of the Creator's colonization. We got a brother in our own community, man, and nobody reaches out to him. Brother Kendall, he's trying to establish an orphanage. Youth Haven in Cincinnati, Ohio, nobody's reaching out to try to help him, man. He's doing it all on his own, and he's not asking for anybody to come and help because he knows about the book of Shalem and the Oahspe, where people come and volunteer their services. Nobody's all on his own, man. Well, there are some brethren, jumping in with him, but he's a faithist. He is a faithist, which is a good time to say Wednesday, I'm going to be broadcasting the Wednesday night study on my channel. He's the president of Cosman, Universal Faithists of Cosman, and he conducts the Wednesday Bible study. So hopefully your brethren will join us. And But his focus is on raising orphans and the vulnerable in love, education, and shared labor. Non-resistance to faith colonization is non-resistance, brotherly love, veganism, service to the Creator, Jehovah over material gain or dominion. This is the 180-degree opposite of British colonialism. Rejection of private accumulation, war, worldly power in favor of spiritual elevation and organic unity. These are anti-imperial by design, meant to dissolve old beast systems, empires, theocracies, exploitative hierarchies, in the cosmic era. See, I love this statement, man. You know, this really, the Creator, it seems to me, he's setting people up. It's like he's priming the pump for people to be finished with capitalism. It's like he's priming the pump, man. Priming the pump by getting people super willing to get away from it. When you have people, I mean, you brethren, whoever listens to this video, you know, you probably know somebody who's struggling. You know what I mean? Who don't got it. And by the way, that leads me to say this. If anybody needs charity, man, if you need charity, I got my link right there in the description area. Yeah, I ain't afraid, man. I will not run from you if you need charity. And if I can't help, you know what? I'm going to get right on this little channel here and I'm going to cry out loud for any brother or sister that's in need of charity, man. I will show no shame. So this is a good point to bring that out. See, and the creatorism, the colonialism of the Creator, it's meant to dissolve old beast systems, empires, theocracies, and here's the key word, exploitative hierarchies. Taking it, that's matter of fact, you know what that word means right there? That's capitalism right there. That's another word for capitalism. Taking advantage, you know, see, we mentioned earlier that the Europeans, before they came to America, they were peasants and serfs. That means you do what you can to live. You're under a king who's going to exploit you. Exploit you. That's capitalism. And when they broke free and came to the New World, they brought that mindset with them. And you can inspire a brother or sister when you let them be their own boss. Their own boss, when they see they can go for it, and they can become pretty motivated. Pretty motivated, man. You know, when they see that they have an opportunity to punch their own ticket, so to speak. I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, economy, I mean, riches, domination, you know, possessions, luxury, you know, when you put that opportunity before a man, you know, he is able to reach new heights in his understanding. And so here you have the European migration to the United States, and word got back and they started migrating over here. At first, it was all good, doing business with the natives, coexisting, the Quakers. And then the Pilgrims came over, Louis Mong's crew came over, man. And then that's when the conflict started. That's when it started. In a nutshell, Louis Mong's crew, the Pilgrims, and that's where the conflict got started. Okay, now it's 7 o'clock. The link is in the room. I'm going to end the video in a half hour. If anybody's in the room and you want to come on and say something, add something to the study tonight, then let's click on the link. And I'm going to end the study in about 20 minutes. So if I see that you, you know, I see a 1, type of 1. And or no, if you just click on the link, it'll bring you on. I'm not looking at the chat, but I'll hear a sound and it'll say somebody wants to come on, and then I'll go and bring you on. So, all right, now core contrast between British colonialism and the creator's colonialism, Jehovah's Kingdom. British colonialism, per Oahspe, is hypocritical conquest. It's democracy. It says it's for the good of the people, but when you turn around, they line in their own pockets. Now, I don't want to sound harsh, but why don't somebody try to call me a liar? Why don't you call me a liar? You know what I mean? British colonialism, slaughter. See, again, man, I got to say this. White people were hijacked. They were hijacked to the max, man. They were hijacked. They're not originally like this. Slaughter, famine, exploitation. They're not, nobody is like that. Nobody is like, that's what this whole thing is about. We trying to make the resurrection, man. You know, we've been dipped in mud, and now it come time to wash it off. And that's how we do it. You take the flesh off. Get the flesh off of you. White people were hijacked. Hijacked. Jehovah's Kingdom is peaceful, faith-based communities rejecting coercion, promoting equality, upliftment without empire building. That's Jehovah's Kingdom right there. Oahspe sees earthly empires as temporary. See, we in a temporary situation. Thank you, Jehovah. We in a temporary situation, man. Creator says he only allows conflict for a little bit, man. A short season, man. A short season, you know. Watching children get blown to hell and back. Babies, women, you know. Tucson, Arizona, where I live. It's a crying shame, man. This place is as beautiful as heaven on earth, man. Until you go to a bus stop. Until you go to a bus stop, man, you know. And the people shooting up, you know, are sleeping on the bench in groups. It's the worst. Oh, man, it's the worst. Who wants that kingdom? Oahspe sees earthly empire, temporary cycles of vanity and conflict that give way to higher spiritual order. I love it. These empires, they're going to give way. They are going, and for all I know the creator is moving. I know, I'm telling you, with Iran, with what I see over there, and a move to lay down the weapons, man. You know, I know that it's just a vibration on me, you know. The historical Shalem colony, inspired by the text, attempted a small-scale, peaceful implementation in 19th century New Mexico, far from colonial models. In short, they are opposite. I don't think it was the time for Shalem. That's all. That's the only thing I can think. The effect of British colonialization, one of the after effects, a self-preservation mindset. A self-preservation mindset. When you live as a peasant and a serf, and you got to do what the king tell you to do for your survival, you know, you carry that with you even when the king is dead or the system is done with, you know. What did they say about the mind, about how trauma is implanted on it and how the fruits last for like generations after generation? So when you live under that system, no matter where you migrate in the world, you're going to take that with you. That mindset is going, that mindset, that self-preservation mindset, that's what happened to the Europeans. They had a self-preservation mindset when they migrated west and eventually established a system reflecting their mindset, and it's called capitalism. And that's every man for himself. When you have the natives, you have a community of people who were Their whole structure, man, was community oriented, serving the Great Spirit. And there are other cultures like that too, all over the world. Louis Mong, gunpowder was discovered in what, like 7th century, I think, the Chinese. Why didn't the Chinese why didn't they rise up and say, we got this here gunpowder and nobody else got it? So that means that we can conquer the whole world. We can conquer the whole world. I think, when did they discover it? The 7th century, right? The Chinese, was it the 7th century? I think it was. And then the British got a hold of it in the 9th century. The Chinese got a hold of it. They didn't go on a conquest. And now we got this here. And when was the gun discovered? Gunpowder, I think that goes like, let me go to the internet. Y'all not going to see it. Y'all not going to see it. When was the first true firearm known as hand cannons emerged in China? During the Yuan dynasty in the 1280s. Okay. So now we got the first gun. Now, why didn't the Chinese go on a colonization conquest? You got the gun, right? You go into battle, you fire that thing, nobody ever seen it before, dude drop dead, everybody run. One bullet will defeat a 1,000,000-man weaponless army. Just one bullet, No, it won't, but you get my drift. Now, when was let me see, y'all can't see the screen, so I'm asking internet questions. When did the British first have guns? When did the British first have guns? The mid 14th century. The 12th century, the Chinese. The 14th, 200 years later. 200, man. And then the British first started using firearms. First the Chinese, then the British. Now, why didn't the Chinese go on an now that you got the power, they didn't do it. But the British, when they got a hold of it, what's the first thing they do? We got something that can dominate our brethren. Louis Mong. Louis Mong got a hold of him. Louis Mong got a hold of him. Louis Mong. That's the only reason, man. The Chinese weren't like that. A lot of faithists was in China, too. What did they bring with them? The British colonization? British is a landlocked country. That's landlocked. Aren't they landlocked? Or let me see. Let me ask. No, they can't be. They had a navy. They can't be. I don't even need to ask. They had a navy. Is Britain landlocked? No, it's not landlocked. It's an island nation. It's an island nation. Yeah, right. Because they had a navy, the strongest navy in the world. So they got a hold of gunpowder, and their inclination is, well, Louis Mong influenced them to get busy. Louis Mong. So it just shows you the sickness that we're under, called racism. We were under it for a long time, man. It works both ways. A self-preservation mindset. The Europeans, they were peasants, they were serfs, they were under the thumb of the king. They got free, came to the Western Hemisphere, the New World, and they just went buck wild when they saw that basically their success just depended on their own labor without nobody ruling over them. They got buck wild and created a system where that was never going to happen to them again. And it grew into capitalism, where we are today. In other words, a predatory government where the government is no different than a ravenous animal, man. A predatory government, also called a predatory state, is one that primarily uses its coercive power, monopoly on force, taxation, regulation, and law to exploit its citizens or subjects for the benefit of ruling elites, rather than to provide genuine public goods, protection, or broad prosperity. The government is supposed to serve the people, man. It's supposed to serve the people. Any government that doesn't do that, the creator, he removes his angels, man. He removes his angels. A government is supposed to be about contractual and protective. The state as a provider of security, property rights, infrastructure, and rules that enable voluntary cooperation and economic growth, a helping hand. It becomes predatory when the state as a stationary bandit that extracts resources, rents from society to maximize benefits for those in power. They take from you and they give to themselves. It becomes like a cell that it continually multiplies to protect itself, if I'm saying that right. Politicians, bureaucrats, military cronies, or influential interest groups, often at the expense of overall society wealth. It becomes a parasite, really, what it sounds like. Predatory government. That's where we live. I read, matter of fact, it said, what was it? A study. It said there are more cars being repossessed in 2026 than there ever has been. That's people's property. That's not supposed to be. It's like you take for the sake of, they entered into a contract, I understand that. But that's not the way of the kingdom. The creator, he doesn't, you don't see that type of thing in the Oahspe. A predatory government protects property and order only to the extent that it enables more effective extraction later. It designs institutions and policies to maximize revenue or power for the ruling group, regardless of its impact on the wealth of society as a whole. So, especially in America, you can see how we gotten way away from the natives and the communal way of life that the natives have. We are way past that. Key characteristics of a predatory government: exploitation for private gain, high taxation, corruption, cronyism. You do for me, I do for you. We're both in power, so we'll work for each other. Resource plunder, especially in resource-rich countries, and policies that transfer wealth from citizens to elites via subsidies, monopolies, or regulatory capture, making laws to extract wages, or extract money from people. British colonialism, man. One of the things that spawned is a predatory government, man. British colonialism. Limits political rivals, expropriates property, or hinders markets to maintain control. Short-term extraction over long-term growth. often seen in unstable regimes. That's what's going on with us right now. Short-term extraction over long-term growth. What do I mean by that? When you print money, when you keep expanding the budget, future generations, they got to pay for that. That's short-term extraction over long-term growth. Other cultures, they don't do that. Muslim cultures, they don't do that. Asian cultures, they don't do that. African cultures don't do that. They have more of a focus on their progeny, people who come after them, their children. Here in this country, it's under the influence of Louis Mang. The flesh means now, not tomorrow. It means now. Short-term extraction over long-term growth, often seen in unstable regimes with abundant natural resources, encouraging predation, low human capital, or weak institutions. Example in literature, authoritarian regimes, failing states, where rulers prey on constituents, or even democratic systems with heavy rent-seeking interest group lobbying that distorts policy for narrow gains. So I think I'm going to end it right there. Oh, wait a minute. I only got a little bit to go. Okay, well, basically, that's the end of that study. That's the end of that part of the study. It's just more on a predatory government. And then it goes into the Oahspe. It gives key passages and context that confirm what predatory governments are, what they're not supposed, what predatory governments are and what they should not be. All right, so I'm going to end it right there. It's about time for the end of the video. Let me go into the chat and see if anyone's in there. Let's see. Okay, now I'm in here. Okay. So let's see. We had a lot of brethren come in today. Amorous Love. Let's see. Good to see you, sis. I'm going to try to read what was written before I close out. Chieftain is key. Hey, sis. Nazarene, Brother Shink was in here. Ace Gaming. I don't think the brother came in peace. So, let's see. Tabitha, of course. Good to see you, Tabitha. All right. We had everybody come in today. Oh, Cosmic Cow, he came in. Oh, that was good to see him. Let's see. Cosmin Cow. He said, what is he reading from? I hope that's not AI. Yeah, I don't think he's still in the room. Yeah, I do a lot of studying from AI. I do a lot of studying from AI. I realize it's not 100%, so I'm always looking out. Always looking out. So I think that the creator, he's able to make it for righteousness. But I think there's a lot of deception in it too, though. Let's see. Tapson says, I'm a faithist from the island of Trinidad. If white people were hijacked by Louis Mang, then what made them such an easy target? I am asking. I think that was by design. When you under influence, then it's like you're not even yourself. And then it seems like you can get to a point where you think you naturally like that. You come under influence, Drugian influence. Influence means you can, you may go against your better judgment. You can be influenced, just like you can be deceived. that you can be deceived, influenced. So we have free will. If we decide to go with that influence, you see what I mean? If we decide to go with that influence, then it's a problem. If we know to do right and we choose to do wrong. So anyway, I think that'll be it for my video today. Brethren, there's a link look at the description area for other like ministry and information. You can check it out in the link area. Wednesday, I'm going to be broadcasting the Wednesday Bible study. So that's a new announcement for the that I'm glad to mention. So be on the lookout for that. And so if there's no one wants to come on and have a word or discussion or anything like that, then I can go ahead and close it out. Let me see. Somebody sent me a message. Oh, okay. That was Prince. I didn't see it. So anyway, brethren, that's it. Thank you for joining me. Let me proceed to close it out. Fallen Swords Day, Holy Compact Day. I don't have the I know that we write up on it. It's one of the 4 special days. So I'll dig into that and see how we can observe that. We'll probably be doing that Wednesday. So I ask you to join us if you have time. And so having said that, Jehovah, thank you for this opportunity to try to do my best to share, to be a light, to help, to encourage brethren, to try to make the resurrection. And I just ask that above all things, that we can redeem the time while we are on the earth. And I ask for the situation in the world is still very problematic, and a shortage of oil and gas and byproducts will come upon this nation in a very short while. And I think that I just pray that it will cause people to consider, to make the resurrection, to turn from the materialism of the earth and the bondage of the self. And so, Jehovah, I just thank you and ask that you would bless this video, and that it would go out, and that it would help the angels to spread the light. And I just thank you for this and all things in your name. I give thanks and pray. So let it be. All right, brethren, thank you for joining me. Until I see you next time on video, the Creator be with you. Peace be unto you. Shalom.